Hi, Momo.
Hi.
Can you hear me well? Hello? Oh no.
Oh,
Oh no, I think your internet is stuck.
is that better now? Can you see me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, cool.
How are you? I miss you.
I miss you too. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, I'm better. Yeah, getting used to it. Well, at first I was going crazy to be honest, but now I feel like I already have like this routine of meditating and
Hmm.
really trying to use the time to reflect and to explore what I want to do with VALLETO dance and, like creatively trying to expand my mind, even if I'm here isolated, like I'm trying to find all the answers within me. I think that's what I've learned with meditation lately.
Hmm.
But, well, yeah, before we start, I'm just gonna talk about this new Even More series. So
Yep.
I don't know if you know why I decided to call it Even More. Um, so I'm usually when I am correcting or when I'm like giving feedback to someone, I'm just like, even more, you can point even more. So it just made me think that I actually like somehow in school they told me that I shouldn't be saying that. But for me, I don't see it as something bad because I think that we all can do even more. There's always more that we can do. And I think it applies also with feminist praxis, with community, even more community, with even more um, reflecting, even more. Yeah. So that's why I decided to call this, and I wanted to start this series of interviewing and maybe other activities, but right now just interviewing badass women like you that are doing projects and that I find interesting and other women and other people find interesting, and then they're doing some difference in their communities.
Hmm.
So yeah, I wanted to start with you and um, thank you for joining me.
Of
For
course.
those who don't know, Monica is an amazing artist, dancer. I met her in Tel Aviv at a Gaga Intensive 2 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then last year she joined with scholarship the VALLETO Summer Intensive, and she performed. She did an amazing, beautiful performance, and we collaborated. I really enjoyed collaborating with you and everything that you brought to the group that we had. And now here we are, almost a year after, and you're gonna turn a year in New York. Wow.
Right.
So I think maybe you can just introduce yourself and tell us where you are right now. Because I don't know if you're in New York, but like where are you spending your quarantine? And yeah, how has this year been for you in New York?
Yeah. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Monica Steffey. I am quarantining right outside of Nashville, Tennessee, with my mom at my mom's house. I fled the city right before this shelter in place order started to go around. So I definitely am missing the city right now for sure. My first year in the city was a crazy year. I learned a lot about myself, art, dance, movement. I have met some incredible, incredible people along the way, um, who have in turn helped me find myself more. And leaving the city was very difficult, but here we are. And I've been really using this time to dig deeper into myself and to dig deep at some deeply rooted, um, I don't know if I can find the word for it, but just deep looking at what makes up my practice, my
Mhm.
person, my being as a whole, and really trying to go in and evaluate everything.
Yeah. And I was remembering, so in the intensive, we all worked in creating an artistic statement, right? And I remember yours. Yours was so powerful. I mean, it would be cool if we read it later. But if you remember it, I wonder, like, has anything changed? Like, do you think your statement has evolved, or maybe you are really living your statement now?
Yeah, that's something that I've actually been thinking a lot about lately is not just doing um, or not just saying what you like to do or not just saying what's
Mm,
important to you, but actually doing it. And so something I've gone into actually with What Hairy Woman is I've created a contract for myself. You know, what is my
wow.
commitment to this project? What is my commitment to this process? And how can I truly stay true to those things? And I do think that in my artist statement, I remember it being very crazy and out there per
Yeah.
usual. And I mean, I think that it has definitely evolved over time. I'm actually in the process of creating a new artist statement right now. Um,
Wow.
but I definitely feel closer to the roots of what I started to feel when I was tapping into when I first moved to New York City. So,
Yeah. So before we get into what hairy woman, I want to hear all about it. I think I'm also re-evaluating my own artistic statement because I think a lot of things have changed in what you said is I don't know if it's what's happening right now, if it's the world, but I feel that right now I'm actually dealing with Valeria. I'm actually being with myself and being in the practice on of what I really want as
mm,
a Mexican American choreographer, empowering, woman unifying. But all of that, I really had to stop and be like, okay, if I want to empower women, I need to empower myself. So by
yeah,
doing that, I personally realized that I was looking my happiness on the outside. Like, oh no, I wish I was in New York because right now I'm in El Paso. I wish I was there. If I get there, I'll be happy. If I have this performance with these people, if I have this company. And then being here right now, this past 2 months, I realized that everything that I need is inside of me, and it's rooted in my body, and the story that I hold in my body. It's really about listening and trying to find, not trying, and to just allowing and be present and sit with those emotions that maybe I distract myself by finding that on the outside. I don't know if I'm explaining myself, but right now I really think that I'm tapping into that too. So it's interesting that you're doing it too. So tell us about your project, What Hairy Woman. I saw it in your Instagram, maybe, I don't know, like a month ago. And I was just like, wow, what is this, dude? What is this? What is she doing? In the bathtub, and then over time I started sort of like understanding, and you made me even think. But why don't you tell us about how this project started, and or why, and where you are right now with it?
yeah. So, What Hairy Woman started it's been really interesting because throughout this project or process, I guess you could say, I haven't really stepped into a role of directing where I want things to go, so to speak. I This has really just evolved out of the practice of being present in my body and being present in where I am here and now. So, for example, it really started when I about oh gosh, maybe it was more so 7 weeks ago, I broke my hand dancing and
Wow.
I quite physically wasn't able to shave my body. Um,
Wow.
and then I got to Nashville and my mom made a small comment of, Monica, you know, you've got to shave those legs of yours. And that's when it kind of hit me. And I was like,
Yeah.
why? Why do I need
I
to
have allergies, sorry.
You're good. Um, it I started to question that. And then I started to sit in, you know, why does my body hair necessarily make others uncomfortable? And why is
Mm,
there a need to kind of step in and poke at, you know, oh, you should do this or you should do that. I started to ask myself, why do I do that? Like, why do I shape my body? And then I realized
yeah.
it's for other people, quite literally. Um, and I started to go deeper within that, where I was like, I need to really, if I'm going to shape my body hair, it has to be a decision that I'm making for myself. Um, and then it kind of prolonged into this project that is continuing to expand. And really, it's been a matter of sitting with myself and learning how to truly just appreciate and accept my body for how it shows up in the most natural, uninterrupted way. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. And it's really interesting that you sort of had like a breakthrough. I love when that happens, or those aha moments,
Mm.
like when your mom asked you, told you that. It's like, whoa. I don't know. I love when that happens, but even just watching you, it inspired me to do it, like in my legs. But then I was halfway and I shaved them. You know, like, and it makes me think, like, am I really doing this for myself, or am I doing it because that's the way that I grew up with, this sort of like social construct that women should shave their legs. I don't think I even like seen my hair grow since I was 13 or 14. It's crazy. And I'm used to it, but I just wonder, like, what would it happen if I allow myself to just like let it be the way it is? How would I feel? Like, how has this experience been for you?
So I'm not going to lie, it's been incredibly difficult. I'm tapping into some really deeply rooted childhood traumas of, you know, I
Wow.
remember being in third grade, 8 years old, and having the cutest guy in the class at the time call me gorilla because the hair on my arm, I'm very pale and I have dark hair.
Yeah.
And so I've always struggled with this aspect of needing to remove or change my body hair. I grew up bleaching my arms, bleaching
Yeah.
my lip, and then there was a large period in high school where I shaved my arms as well. Um, and I just, I've been really sitting with how, you know, have I ever really been able to be comfortable in my own body and be comfortable with how it naturally shows up, and how can I develop that love and appreciation and acceptance for my body in the moment. And the first 30 days, the first 2 weeks, so to speak, were fairly easy. I kind of found,
Hmm.
you know, oh, this is kind of sexy. I found the, like, okay, I can have a little
I'm
armpit hair.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, you know, 30 days came around and I was like, shit, I want to get this body hair off of me. And I started to feel much more uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Um, and that's when I knew that I needed to dig deeper into this and continue this. Because then I started to confront myself with the question of, you know, why do I feel uncomfortable in the way that my body is showing up in its most natural form?
Yes.
And how can I not not succumb to society's pressure to interrupt my body's process as how it is? And how can I just sit in that? And to be completely honest with you, I have never felt more empowered,
Whoa.
more loving of my body, more accepting of my body. And I would have never, even if you had told me 2 months ago that I could feel this way, and come to this level of acceptance for the vessel that I am in, I would have never believed it.
So you think that this is already an ending because, like, right now you're saying, like, I already feel empowered, I already feel free. But like, what about when you start going outside? Because right now, let's say you are
Mm-hmm.
in isolation, you are in your house, and I also wanted to ask about like how people have been reacting in your social media. Like, what are people saying to you? But like, what's gonna happen when you go outside? I feel like that's the true test.
Yeah. That, I mean, obviously being home and amongst family, it's been an easier process, so to speak, you know. I'm not out in public. And one of the aspects of this project, you know, it's not finished yet because I think that a very important part to this process is being able to go out into public and the reintegration into society and to stand my ground still and to find that feeling and that sensation of just being present and accepting of my body. And yeah, so that is a definite part that I'm very interested in, and that is kind of the next step I see it as. People have been extremely supportive, believe it or not. My family members have finally, at first it was definitely something that was joked about, it was definitely something that was kind of
Yeah.
raised eyebrows at the dinner table. But it's been a month now, and it's come to a place where I think they've started to accept it. And they've also, I had a really, really moving conversation with my stepfather where he was truly like, I get it now. It's about the sensuality of it, of the feeling of your
Wow.
moment in your body. And that was a big, like, boom moment for me. So I think that reintegrating into society is a really important part of it, because the more I'm able to stay within this and affect and expand whom I interact with, I think that that will in turn recycle.
Yeah. It's so interesting because I wonder, for example, I had a conversation with guy friends and I showed them your photo. And then I was like, so what do you think? And well, it's they know I'm a feminist and like it's her body, her choice. And I'm like, no, be honest. I saw the reaction in your face.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what if your girlfriend decided to do that? Oh, that would be different. Why? Like, why? And how is that different? No, well, it would be something that we would have to talk. And like, why would she need to talk? Because like it's her body, it's the way she is.
Mm-hmm.
And then also something that happened is that I also like used to shave my arms and I just let it grow, and then I told my sister and she's like, ew, like why? So it's crazy that even in between women we create these constructs for ourselves, and we create this for ourselves and in between ourselves. So I don't know what you can say about that, like this view, the way even in between women we view this, and men.
Men.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a heavy part of it for sure. Um, it's it's I think something that that I've come to notice that is very frustrating about this is that um, men, not generally speaking men, but just
Yeah.
I have encountered men whom have taken this as a way to either be silent or to not express an opinion on this. But the reality is, I think that that's a huge part of the problem. I think that men do hold this pressure, and there's a reason why it feels uncomfortable to be around a man if I have armpit hair. Like part of it is my own, the work that I need to do on myself, but another part of that is because of society and this construct that has been held and formed, where it's just an expectation. It's an expectation that men put on women, that they expect women to be shaved, or they expect women to be cleanly provide, you know, embodying this aesthetic of what is beauty. And I guess the tricky part is it comes down to the idea of attraction and what is attractive to certain people and what isn't attractive to certain people. And
Mm-hmm.
while I don't think that I would never say that somebody needs to fix their attraction or change what it is that they're attracted to. I do think that um, there needs to be an opening. There needs to be,
Yeah.
you know, men do have to wake up, and so do women, because you're right in that women even women aren't quite supportive of one another in this sense. And we, you know, what does support look like? That's another thing that I've been really interested in is I don't think that support looks like silence. I think support looks like engaging in conversations.
Yes.
If you disagree with this, I want to talk to you about that. I want to go deeper into that.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had a whole range of a whole wide variety about the way that different men in my life have reacted to this. And I think the most revealing aspects are when men have been supportive.
Mm,
When straight white men have messaged me, you know, I'm talking from a standpoint of privilege. Those of whom I think also a group of people whom I've felt that has really influenced and driven a deep, deep pain from where this stems from, have spoken out and have said, this is beautiful. What you are doing is important. Um,
oh,
and having men saying, you know, this is sexy, and any man who tells you that it's not is crazy and not worth your time. Granted, you know, the superficial commentary in there, you read through some things, but generally speaking, I think that there's something very powerful when a man is supportive of this work.
wow, yes, it is. But it also makes me think about like they even shave their beards, you know, like they even don't let their natural hair grow sometimes, and I don't know. But this also makes me think about just in general the body, like how like we accept our body and how we can work more on loving our body the way it is. It's not just your weight, like the hair, it's everything.
Mm.
And and I think there's not enough awareness in this. Maybe there's already like sort of like some models that are overweight, but like I don't know, I don't think there's enough voice for those women who like I think like it's either like black and white, like you're too skinny or too fat. But what about all the people that is in the middle, like all those gray areas? It's like really also thinking about, for example, this binary norms. It also applies for everything. Like how can we really pay attention to what's in those spaces, because there's more people in those spaces and somehow we don't pay attention to that. We only like people only sell products for this or that. But what about
Mm-hmm.
this? So it makes me think about that, about beauty notions. I don't know. So it's really like about accepting your body, and it's a really hard work, like also for me personally. And I think as any dancer who was training classical ballet, we all grew up wanting to be super skinny, and for me it has taken me years to deconstruct that and understand that my body is different. My body, I don't know, I'm Mexican. I will never be like a Russian dancer. I will never be like this other dancer. My legs are different. So in which way I can embrace more my body? So yeah, I think it also raises for me all of those questions.
Yeah, definitely. And I also, going into the what you were talking about with the dichotomy and how things are so split, it's either or. I think something that's been really interesting to me too is how body hair is attributed, and it's, I guess you could say, most people look at that and identify that as a masculine trait. And I feel like for my whole life, I've been hitting against that because I don't identify as masculine. And you know, I'm a feminine woman and I love that about myself. But if there's something about my appearance that others then reflect and see masculinity, and that can be really frustrating and troubling. And so I also question this aspect of why is body hair seen as a masculine trait? And it is, you know, there's a gender neutral aspect to it too. You know, like why our society has grown up around splitting up people, splitting, you know, making separations, qualifying separations, and to be able to just, instead of classify or even direct or title something for what it is, just accepting it for what it is and being in my own body and saying, I am a feminine, beautiful woman, and I do have a 5 o'clock shadow right now, but that doesn't make me any less feminine. That doesn't make me any less beautiful. That doesn't make me any less intelligent or artistic or creative. If anything, I think it empowers me to know that I can find beauty in the way that my body is showing up naturally.
Yes. Wow. And it makes me think again about like the fluidity, about like in reality, like, okay, what is feminine? What is masculine? Like, who chose what is what? You
Mm.
know, like, and just for example, like, they think that lesbian look masculine. You know, like,
Mm-hmm.
already, like, there's this stigma in so many things that yeah, like, there's work to do, there's more conversation to have. And I think your project is so beautiful, and I'm very interested also in learning about how you plan to develop this project more. And are you planning on performing? Are you planning on what do you want to do with this project now that, like, I understand that, like, the art itself it's being done within you, but
Mm.
in which ways it can be accessible for other women, maybe for some of us like me that I ended up shaving my legs, that I couldn't wait longer, you know, like, what is that space, like, how can I get support, not support, or like be supported by other women, maybe by you, and be like, no, wait a little longer, wait, see what happens. So what do you plan on doing with that?
Yeah, so actually, I'm really excited about this because I've recently developed an extension of What Hairy Woman to become What Hairy Woman. Program.
Oh.
Yeah, and so actually, I'm starting on Monday. I am going to be having a Zoom conversation with, I have right now 22 women who have sent me their emails. And we're going to be embarking on a little bit more of like, I'm going to be talking about how can women get involved in this, how can this expand more and include more women. And there are a couple different ways that I'm looking to speak that out, but I definitely think that this is something that involves more than just myself. Although I can't possibly ever know what others need or what others want, but I know what I need, and I know that I need to dig deeper into this, and I want to open that up and share that with people. So I am starting a movement of some sort on Monday, and I will be inviting women to join me in a stretch of a time to make a
Mhm.
commitment to go into this with me. Um,
Wow.
and I want to offer a space for women to be able to go through what it takes to truly sit in their bodies as it naturally shows up and be present in their bodies. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you think, like, what if some women want to join but they have this fear of, like, maybe they don't want to shave? Like, do you think this practice could apply for other things? Like, do all, like, will have to commit, or like, or is it more a conversation? Or, like, I'm just saying this because maybe there are some women that are interested but they're afraid. What do you think?
Definitely. Right now, I see this being something Monday where I'm going to kind of assess the group interest and see, who is interested in this and what kind of interest, what kind of commitment are people open to. I'm interested in creating space for women in general who might be interested but not quite sure about the commitment. But I also am really interested in getting a group of people together who really are willing to commit to this and delve deep into this, because I think that that's where the true value of this process and project has come from for me personally, has been in the depth, diving into the depth of,
Mhm.
when I want to shave my legs, because there have been many times when I have wanted to shave or, pluck a hair and sitting with that sensation of like, okay, I have this desire to remove my body hair right now, but where is that actually stemming from? Like, even if it's a discomfort within my own body, how can I go deeper into that and question then why am I uncomfortable in the way that that my body is appearing naturally? You know, why do I have this need to remove stuff when this is what it is in the
It
moment? And I
is
think,
naturally.
yeah. And so learning, I think what I'm trying to really get at is learning how to sit in my body as it shows up without interrupting it, um, due to the conditions, how we've been conditioned by society.
That's beautiful. Like saying interrupted. Like it's kind of like interrupting your own growth, your own evolution, if you kind of see it from that perspective. And so why wet?
Mm, that's a good question. So when this first came to me, I was thinking about everything, and um, I knew that I didn't. That this was more. It's more than just about the hair growing on my body. There's something deeper in that. Something deeper involving sexuality, involving attraction, and I knew that I wanted to also incorporate that into it. And so I actually, when I first started this project, I wrote down and I was like, okay, what are all the other, what could the word wet mean? And a lot of things came up. You know, there's obviously the bathtub, there's rain, there's, you know, pool water, there's sweat, there's sexuality, there's, you know, quite literally vaginal discharge, there's saliva, there's mucus. There's so much about the body that um, I started to be intrigued by. You know, like what does this feel like?
Wow. Yeah. That's amazing. Do you made me think a lot about like, my own research also about sexuality, the body, like to really embrace my own sexuality and in my dances and in my choreography. And I think like you said that at the beginning of our this conversation that you realize a lot of childhood stuff. And for me personally, I realized that a lot of my childhood, my identity was like it's part of what I am sort of rebelling against, and maybe not rebelling against, but like trying to really deconstruct and find what is that I really am in my work. And I mean, like fuck it, I am a sexual person. I am like I enjoy moving this specific way, and uncovering all of that has given me a voice of what I really want to say, what's in my core without being ashamed. And and yeah, and you said how this is like how we interrupt. So I think that's interesting how at some point, and maybe this is another subject, but when I'm creating work, like there was this piece that I made, the last one I made in New York called Fresh Meat in
Mm,
October 2018. And this was a piece that I really wanted to go all the way and talk about voyeurism, about sexual attraction, about the desires of women, all of these fantasies that we don't have, but like there's so much fluidity in it, and explore it and put it in public, like really
yeah.
exploring the private and the public. And I noticed myself that I stopped. I didn't go all the way. I interrupted the research, the exploration. Like there was a part of me that didn't dare. So all of that is when I wonder, like, what is it about it that I'm stopping? Like, is it is it me? Is all of that that it's ingrained within me, the way that I was raised as a very Catholic in a very Catholic family. So it raises a lot of questions. All of this, and yeah.
Yeah, sexuality is a huge aspect of it. Yeah, it's a huge aspect of it because society, we have grown up and lived in this genre of sexual repression. where we're taught not to talk about those things, not to engage in those things. You know, I didn't learn about, I didn't even know that women could masturbate and that there was such a thing as like self-pleasure. I didn't figure that out until like my junior year of high school, you know, like and
Yeah.
it's it's a real issue because there is something so beautiful and sensational about sexuality. And it's been something that I've been exploring within this project. And it's something that I've also struggled with within this process of being able to be like, wow, I'm not turned on by my own body right now. You know, like
Yeah.
you know, I'm hairy. This isn't a turn on. So also going through that with trying to find sexuality within myself at the deepest level. You know, how can I not only just accept my body in its most natural state, but how can I also give it the love that it deserves and
Mm-hmm.
engage in sexual practices, and enjoy myself and truly find a beauty and love for the hairy body that I'm in. And there's nothing wrong with exploring that.
And it's amazing because lately, I think I told you that I started doing Kundalini yoga. A lot of people
Mm,
told me about it many months, and I was like, no, no. But this isolation, I gave it a try, and it's really amazing because what it is that it converts your sexual energy into creative energy. And just thinking about that idea, it shifts something in me, and I think like you are using your sexual energy to explore this other aspect, like to like it's como se dice, yeah, converting. It's like
transform.
metamorphosing in something else, in something that it's powerful, so it's not stuck. It's like letting it out. And I feel like there's so much repression with that. And I think especially with women, but not because of them. It's because the way that we were raised, the way women are supposed to be in this social constructs, when men can talk easily about that
Yeah.
openly and it's okay, and women, like, why not? Like, there should be this conversation. And and yeah, it's so interesting. And I love what you did. I was immediately intrigued, and I mean, I'm always intrigued by all that you do. Like, you're such an inspiration. And yeah, I just think about the performance last year in the summer intensive. You went all the way. So I told my dancers, like, if you want to get naked at the end, do it. Do it. And Monica did it. And she didn't, like, there was nothing wrong about it. There was no, like, the audience didn't even, it was such a natural thing to do that it happened. And there was no right or wrong. There was no, like, oh, she's naked. No, it was really part of the performance. It was like ephemeral in the moment. And I really appreciate your, do you say bravery? Bravery?
Yeah.
Your courage to really give yourself in to your projects as an artist, and that you're not half-assing. You are not interrupting. You're allowing yourself to really grow and evolve, and you inspire other women. You inspired me. And like, and I think we all can do this. We all can do this, but like, it's a matter of inspiring each other. And like you said something at the beginning, that in more than your words, you're now putting into practice.
Mm.
So it's this, like, the practice, the active is what makes a difference when people actually see it for themselves rather than just saying. So like when we talk about the artistic statement. So yeah, thank you for that. And I don't know if somebody in the audience wants to ask a question, and in the meanwhile they ask a question, why don't you give me your email, or give us your email, so maybe some dancers can, let me write it here, or you can write it maybe.
Yeah. Here, I will
Mhm.
write my email down, for any female identifying woman, or really anybody with a vagina who would
Mhm.
like to, who's interested in this process in joining, us on Monday but also I'm really open to discussing this also with men as well, and with all the
Yeah,
I'm interested in getting feedback from other men as well, and just sharing ideas and sharing perspectives.
I would love that. So, so right now you are in Wisconsin,
Tennis,
Minneapolis.
tennis.
Oh my God.
No worries.
And so, are you planning on going back to New York when everything is over?
Yeah, that's the hope and that's the plan. I do foresee there being a end project performance of this at some point. I have some
Okay.
things up my sleeve that I'm cooking,
Yay.
uh, but I don't know when that will be, and I do foresee that being kind of like the next big ending conclusion, um, maybe even to then spark something else in this process.
Well, let's stay tuned then, and let's keep in touch. And for everybody, email Monica if you want to join this project. I'll definitely, I mean, I already gave you my email, you
Yeah.
already know. Just let us know what time. And yeah, thank you for this. And thank you for everybody that joined. We will be doing this, I think, every week or maybe a couple times a week. I want to start having a bigger conversation with more people. So if any of you know of women that are doing things out there in their, I don't care, but they're doing, making a difference, I would love to have a conversation with them through this platform.
And I just want to say thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to come on here and share what I've been working on and share my project. I really, really appreciate it. And you have also been a huge inspiration to me and a huge just grounding force in
Oh,
my project. So I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me today about this.
yay. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
So I hope this video can be saved. I hope so. But yeah, if so, I'll send it to you. I don't know.
Thank
But thank you
you.
so much and have a beautiful Saturday.
You too.
Okay, bye.
Bye bye.